Yes, send the link, the YouTube.
Victor, you could give Massimo the hosting because he needs to set up the Spanish and English, Spanish, French, and English interpretation. Only the host.
Yeah, if you can make me host, please, Victor. Not co-host, but actually host.
Okay, I'll do that now.
Thank you.
I don't know if you want the setup to be live because it says we're live now. So I don't know.
We needed to.
Wait, Victor.
Yeah.
In order for assigning the interpreters and everything, maybe make me host and get yourself as co-host. Or
I think Massimo's gonna do all that.
Massimo, you're gonna name everybody. Then you should put Massimo as host, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'll assign the interpreters. No problem.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
So Massimo,
Hello, everybody.
I'm doing that right now. There you go.
Hello. Hello.
Ibrahim, nice to see you. We have the
Hi, Federico. I'm here.
Perfect. We have some of our partners here from World Enabled. We have Victor Pineda, who's the president. He's also the founder for the Compact initiative that your mayor signed. So we're looking forward to sharing the news during the event. And we have a lot of
everything seems good.
yes, very good, very good. Let's see. I'm just checking. Just doing a little bit, but yeah, feel free to talk. I think.
Federico,
yeah.
Should I wait? Let me.
Intérpretes de español.
Sí, estamos Carmen y Monse. Nos hemos puesto interpreter / ES y luego Carmen y Monse, respectivamente.
Gracias. ¿Y les asigno los canales inglés-español o...?
Inglés-español, sí. Y luego para el francés tenemos a David, que está conectado, y ahora estamos comprobando con Laura a ver si es que está esperando para entrar en la sala o cómo, porque falta otra intérprete de francés, ¿vale?
Perfecto, gracias. Ahora les hago intérpretes.
Genial.
I love the turtleneck, Fede.
This is my favorite thing about when it gets cold, is like you never have these like things where there's never like these nice men's dresses. Like women are so lucky they get to put like one dress in but the turtleneck is
Perdón, una duda. ¿David es francés-inglés?
Sí, David y Laura, que se acaba de conectar, pero todavía no se ha cambiado el nombre, está como laudipa@gmail.com. Ellos dos tienen que tener francés-inglés.
Gracias.
Vale.
Fede,
yes?
You want me to really quickly just explain you the presentation, since we didn't have time to go over. But
I'm not sure. Do I? Which part? This presentation is going at the second part?
No, this is it. But I don't know if you guys have a presentation that you want to take over later.
No, it just you have the video already, so Emilia will.
Yeah. So this is it. Like this is at the beginning.
Okay, acabo de mandar. No sé si han llegado.
Sí, lo acabo de recibir, Máximo.
Perfecto, muchas gracias.
Si queréis probar, en cuanto aceptemos esto, ya no nos oís por el floor, ¿vale? Tenéis que activar el canal de interpretación.
Perfecto. ¿Y no tenemos un canal francés-español o...?
A ver, esta combinación está cubierta, pero no tenéis que asignar nada más. Nosotros ya nos organizamos, ¿vale?
Vale, perfecto. Entonces,
That's
cuando podemos, hacemos un test rápido, así que ya cerramos eso.
Vale, yo acepto ya y os podéis conectar a inglés o español y ahí nos vais a oír, ¿vale?
Perfecto, gracias. Lo hacemos en un minuto.
And then, yeah, like Luis, for your the presentation, it's good to like maybe just show something, but it like have the gallery view so that everybody can be seen.
Yeah, that's one my main question, because you guys, I saw the presentation last time, and you guys would pop the people that were actually speaking, so it was enough room for the interpreters. So how do you guys do that? Or if you can do that for me, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I can do it as co-host, but it'll be like you show the gallery, and then you can kind of it's not pinning, but it's kind of just the panelists that are going to be seen, and then you kind of make sure that the interpreter is there. It's so like you see how it says like vista, well mine says vista, but like it should be like view. There you can kind of control what people are seeing.
Okay.
Colleagues, may I just interrupt for a second to test the interpretation? Federico, would you mind helping me with that? If you can start just speaking in English, and I'll listen to both French and Spanish.
Hello all, welcome to the session. Can't wait to start, and always good to do a test. I hope the interpretation is working well. And yeah.
Thank you, that's fine. If you can try in Spanish, please.
Hola a todos, bienvenidos a la sesión. Estamos animados para recibirles aquí y bueno, un placer siempre estar con los socios y los amigos.
En inglés, no.
¿No?
¿Podemos
No.
intentar otra vez con el inglés, por favor?
No,
O sea,
sí.
perdón, con...
Española. Yo hablando
Sí,
español.
sí. Sí, gracias.
Hola a todos, te cuento un cuento de todos los cuentos que hay en un cuento. Es una canción que...
Perfect, thank you. Thank you. It seems to be all working.
All right. The sign language interpreters should enter in about 3 minutes. They were just telling me they're running from... I think we have Laura. Let's see. Laura, are you there? Or maybe not. I'm just gonna check and make sure. Luis, Mariola says she's waiting to get in. I don't know if you...
I'll make Luis co-host, and Federico also make you co-host.
Perfect.
Who's Mariola or Mariela?
Mariola is our one of our team.
Oh, okay. So I didn't add her as panelist. Let me see if I can add her as panelist. I think I added everybody that you told me. If not, she will have to enter whenever. What's her email?
Mariola, it's M-A-R-O. Well, I'll send it to you again by WhatsApp. So you can...
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. See, just need to check in with the captioners.
Colleagues, should I be hitting record once we start the session?
Yeah, would be best.
Okay.
Oh, she is in. I did send her to her.
Okay.
Let me add it again. Okay. So she should have received an email right now about panelists. So then, Federico,
Yeah.
would you present you know, whenever it's needed, and then
Yeah, like don't show the presentation the whole time. The
don't, not the whole time. Okay, just then.
just like
can
maybe
we,
in this opening, right? You can leave this.
can we rehearse when? Like,
So probably like when the opening comes, I would just leave this here, the
So-
first slide, and then I would, you know, I think you have the word to you know, Maria
Yeah,
Soledad. So
then
this
we
doesn't
take
need.
it down, right?
Yeah. So
We have
like.
okay.
And you have the video, so those ones you don't need, and you don't need this one either. This one shouldn't be. We won't need that one.
Victor has a slide, so
Yeah. So when Victor has like anything that you're presenting per se.
okay.
I just want to check: are the sign language interpreters in the room? Just checking. Let's see.
Hello, Ian. Hello, Michaela. Thank you.
Hi.
You can ignore my question because I just saw the slides there. That's perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I managed to put it. Thank you so much, Michaela. Hola, Federico. ¿Cómo estás? Uruguay.
Hola, ¿cómo andan?
Bien, bien.
Un gusto estar con ustedes.
Gracias. Hola, Patricia.
Ahora sí. Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, no sé en qué horario estamos.
Un gusto, un honor. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Angela, thank you so much for being here.
Massimo, or I think Massimo has to do it unless he gives you, Luis, back the host. I need the API token.
The API token?
Yeah.
Let me give Luis back the host, because that will be easier, I think.
So I can give the API?
Okay, that's done.
Okay, so now I go closed caption, right? And then copy. Should I send it to WhatsApp?
Yeah, send to WhatsApp.
You got it?
Yeah, perfect.
That's easier than assign them, right? It's good to know.
Hola, Patricia.
Hola, Fede. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, muy bien. Un saludo. Y tenemos a los otros colegas también en la reunión. Hay interpretación abajo también para...
Sí, ahí estaba investigando.
Hello, Federico. I'm here. I just wanted to let you know. Would you mind
good.
making me a co-host and then I can deal with the interpreters and figure out where they are?
Perfect. Luis, can you... I think I can do this here. Let me see if I find you. Let me just do it real quick. And oh no, I need
Yeah, I
Luis,
can.
you-
Yeah, it's
Miriam.
Miriam. Okay.
Luis, if you can also make me Massimo co-host as well, just in case.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got it. There.
Anna Maria, do you have a side call you want me to hop on?
I sent you the invite as a calendar event this morning.
Beautiful, thank you.
Luis, is the commissioner Arfa? Is she in the waiting room, or do you see her?
I don't see her, but I sent the invitation. You want me to copy and paste the invitation to your WhatsApp so you can send it to her? The panelist link?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Miriam, do you know, I'm having trouble reaching the transcriptioners. Do you have any?
Sure, give me one.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Hi, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Perfect.
Do you want the captions in Zoom or just the URL or both?
Can we have both?
Yeah, sure. So you can find the,
Do you need the API token from?
yes, exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. I'll just copy that. I can send it to you here through the chat.
You can also just turn on the CC option, bottom, you should see a little
Luis,
closed
can you do this?
caption. Or the chat, either, whichever's easier.
I'm going to paste it in the chat so we have both options.
Yeah, great, thanks. Oh. Thank you.
Ahí, Federico.
Sí, hola María Soledad.
Yes, ¿cómo está?
Hola, hola amigo.
Qué bueno verte, escucharte.
Ay, qué bueno también.
Gracias por acompañarnos. Siempre un placer.
Ay, está Luis. Póneme el audio. Ay, sí. Hola Luis.
¿Cómo está? Tan bonito usted.
Ay, qué gusto de saludarlos.
Un gusto también.
Ay, qué contenta porque venir a este side event es como llegar a la casa. Vengo saliendo de otro, pero llegar aquí es muy agradable.
Muchísimas gracias. Siempre un honor para nosotros.
Gracias.
Somos una gran familia.
Oh,
María
Víctor.
Soledad, claro.
Hola, hola Víctor.
Muchos años en esto, pero grandes logros también.
Sí.
Felicidades por tu evento otra vez.
Bueno, y por el tuyo, tremendo evento. Felicidades.
Este año que viene vamos a poder lograr mucho más, yo creo.
Yo creo, sí. Lo más importante es que hay una unión en un espíritu, ¿no? Y eso es bueno.
Exacto. Pues vamos a dejar la logística con los muchachos, el equipo.
Ya.
Y yo creo que yo voy a abrir muy rapidito. Ya creo que yo te voy a presentar a ti, a usted.
Ya.
Y usted tiene la palabra para primera palabra. Y de ahí yo creo que va Luis. Pues recorrer otra vez el show para que... So, do it in English. Just
Yeah.
recap.
So you introduce Maria Soledad, Maria Soledad, and then we give the word to Angela. She's gonna read the message from Maimuna Musharif from You Don't Have It, and then from there we go to the cities panel. Emilia Saez is gonna moderate with Chicago, Mersin, Villa Carlos Paz, in the city of Canelones.
Great. So maybe, Maria Soledad, you can introduce the word from Maimuna Sharif. So when you finish, you say we have a special message from Maimuna Sharif, Executive Director of United
Ok.
Nations Habitat.
O sea, sí, y yo tengo 10 minutos, ¿no es cierto? 10 minutos me pusieron.
If you wanna use the 10 minutes, because en vía especial, si puede, le agradecería si lo puede hacer en 7, 6, para
Ya,
que
voy.
un tiempito de... No sé si
Bueno, voy a
tienen preparados los 10, sí, o sea, hágalo, no hay problema.
Bueno, voy a tratar de hacerlo más cortito, pero había pensado varias ideas.
Sí, si tiene pensado los 10, no se sienta restringida, pero si puede, gracias.
Gracias a ti.
Hey, Federico,
Yes.
could you assign me to closed caption, please?
Yes. I think, Luis, can you do this? Because I don't have the ability in Zoom.
The interpreters would also like to be able to see that live stream. Right now, I see just an error page when I click on the link that you provided in chat.
Yeah, we'll get that's actually not the link, but we will put that in the chat. But any host or co-host should be able to see a CC button at the bottom, and then you can just assign either myself or Andrew.
I think I'm not cool with it.
I'll do it now.
Great.
Hannes here. I don't need to be a co-host, right? Since I'm not showing any PowerPoint.
Yeah, thank you, Hannes. How are you? Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good. Stressful days, but I'm very excited to join you guys today.
Thank you so much. Here, and then I have, so I assign Andrew, and then the second person I need to assign is...
We're all set if you assigned Andrew.
Yeah, I assign Andrew.
Great, thank you.
I just don't see the commissioner, but I'll try to.
So the interpretation is working, right? Just to check the Spanish and French.
Yeah, we tested that a little bit earlier. We can do one last test if you want, but it should be okay.
If the sign language interpreters could help me also welcome in, could you put us on the gallery view, Luis, please? Sorry. We have the Commissioner Arfa here, who so to make sure we can see you. Ready?
Luis, ¿estás ahí?
Sí, le respondo por chat o por
Ya.
WhatsApp, ¿cómo es mejor?
Sí, respóndenos por chats.
Ok, está bien.
Esa parte no, yo después que hablo, entonces.
Ajá. Y puede hablar en español.
Claro.
Sí.
Okay. For the American Sign Language interpreters, could you just interpret? We have the commissioner here. You could interpret. Perfect, thank you.
This is Jana. Can one of the hosts enable multiple pins for the interpreter and for Ms. Arfa, please?
Luis, are you host? Can you do this?
Yes. So all the
Everybody to say hi, everyone. It's nice to be here with all of you.
So Jana, I should pin only you, or who else?
No, it's not you making a pin. There are permissions for each participant. One of the permissions is called enable multiple pins. That means I can pin Maria and Miss Arfa on my screen, but you have to enable me to pin more than one person. And so you would have to enable Miss Arfa and Maria with that same permission.
Okay. Let me see.
Luis, you'll have to probably start this session, but the CCs are not enabled. Commissioner is saying also. I also don't have the option to enable them.
So where do you do that? You just go to settings and enable pin, or you just click right?
Boy,
I'll handle it. This is Miriam from the All Hands in Motion team. I'll handle it.
Oh,
okay.
thank you.
Luis, can you go ahead and start the session and make sure that the captioning is started, that are enabled as well.
Have people tried the more button at the bottom right to see if there's a little option that says show subtitle?
Yeah, mine is now working.
Okay, great. It might not say CC. It might just.
You should start the session, Luis. I think we're running a little bit.
Okay, there you go. Going live now. So I'm gonna share my Jana and Miri, let me know if you guys have the pin figured out, because I want to share my screen for the introduction.
We're all set.
Okay. Thank you so much.
As a note for the screen shares, I will be spotlighting the interpreter. If you don't prefer to see just Jana, you can go back to the gallery view.
Well, we have an incredible lineup today. I am so honored that we are together on this momentous moment. It is a historic moment for many, many of us, old friends and new friends. My name is Victor Pineda. I'm the president of World Enabled. I'm also a public member of the U.S. Federal Access Board, and I've had the great honor to help negotiate and implement the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, specifically now with cities and mayors and local governments, and with partners like United Cities and Local Governments, the UN Special Envoy on Accessibility and Disability, the World Blind Union, UN Habitat, many, many others. 2 years ago, we came together and decided that the Sustainable Development Goals needed to be implemented on the local level, and specifically the inclusion targets needed to have a boost. And so we launched a global campaign called Cities for All. It's a global initiative with the set of principles. And so this is the second anniversary also of the launch of that campaign. Today we will hear from various partners. We'll start off with the UN Special Envoy, Then we'll hear a short message from the Executive Director of UN Habitat, Ms. Mahmouda Sharif. And then we'll have a really great panel discussion moderated by my dear friend, Emilia Sais, who's the Secretary General of United Cities and Local Governments. I want to thank Access Israel, World Blind Union, Global Disability Innovation Hub, Zero Project, Metropolis, and the Mission of the Republic of Ecuador for being our co-sponsors to this event, and always UN DESA, who's helping to organize this Conference of States Parties, does a great job to bring us all together. Next slide. So UCLG has really been a great ally. They have stepped in to provide accessibility features for this event. This event includes American Sign Language interpretation, English captioning, and spoken translation in English, Spanish, and French. This is one of our most accessible and inclusive events, and we want to thank UCLG for helping us put this together. Next slide. So I will not be speaking much. I want you to hear from the incredible people that we've brought.
Victor, I believe your microphone is on mute.
I believe Dr. Pineda had technical difficulties. But just to move on with the program, we would like to introduce the opening remarks, and this is going to be done by our dear friend, the UN Special Envoy on Disability and Accessibility from the UN Secretary General, Mrs. Maria Soledad Cisternas, the Special Envoy of the UN Secretary General on Disability and Accessibility. And María Soledad, enviada especial, ¿cómo está? Sí.
Muy buenas tardes a todas y a todos. Gracias a las intérpretes en idiomas. Viva el multilingüismo en Naciones Unidas y también la interpretación en lengua de señas. En primer lugar, en nombre del Secretario General de las Naciones Unidas y en el mío propio, agradezco la invitación que se nos ha hecho para participar en este importante evento paralelo, que es un magno evento, en verdad. ¿Por qué? Porque hoy día 3 de diciembre se celebra el Día Internacional de las Personas con Discapacidad, con el lema de reconstruir mejor para alcanzar con igualdad de oportunidades sociedades más justas, inclusivas y sostenibles. Pero también es un hito fundamental la celebración de los 2 años del Pacto Global Cities for All, Ciudades para Todos, y en esto permítanme rendir un homenaje a Víctor Pineda, quien es la persona que en cuerpo y alma se ha dedicado a sacar adelante esta importante iniciativa. Una iniciativa que tiene resultados concretos, porque ya hay 30 ciudades que se han vinculado directamente, formalmente con la iniciativa Cities for All. También por los principios que tiene este pacto global, principios como la no discriminación, la inclusión, la participación, la recopilación de datos, estadísticas, la rendición de cuentas y por supuesto la accesibilidad, todos los cuales coinciden con los principios que señala el Secretario General de Naciones Unidas en el Policy Brief sobre personas con discapacidad y pandemia. También resultado concreto en que más de 50 organizaciones de la sociedad civil han suscrito este pacto global. Y hoy día además apreciaremos más resultados, como son las muestras que nos exhibirá World Enable y todo el partenariado que hay acá en este evento, sobre módulos de capacitación que son indispensables para la toma de conciencia y la ejecución en materia de ciudades para todos. También es importante decir que el eje del partenariado es tremendamente importante. Por ejemplo, y permítanme mencionar el genuino interés que la Unión Internacional de Ciudades y Gobiernos Locales ha demostrado en materia de ciudades accesibles, entornos accesibles para todos y todas en el mundo entero. Y eso yo creo que es digno de ser felicitado. En este partenariado contribuyen otras diversas organizaciones. Yo misma estoy totalmente comprometida con el Pacto Global y ofrezco la campaña de accesibilidad que presenté el lunes también para que sea utilizada en todo este trabajo enorme del Pacto Global Cities for All. Pero también quisiera decir que estamos en un marco que nos da la Convención sobre los Derechos de las Personas con Discapacidad, el acento en el modelo de derechos humanos de las personas con discapacidad, y cómo cruzamos transversalmente el desarrollo sostenible con y para las personas con discapacidad, y también para los adultos mayores y para muchos otros grupos, sin dejar a nadie atrás. Es por eso que resulta tremendamente importante que cuando estamos celebrando la década de acción 2020-2030, se nos señala a promover ideas para alcanzar soluciones. Y creo que precisamente este pacto global que estamos celebrando en su segundo año es precisamente una genial idea para alcanzar soluciones. Soluciones que nos permitirán, independientemente de los diagnósticos actuales, alcanzar objetivos auspiciosos y excelentes para toda la humanidad en el 2030. No puedo dejar de mencionar acá la resolución de la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas que fue aprobada hace un mes atrás solamente. Y en ellas ustedes podrán ver cómo los estados partes se unen para decirnos que buscan la inclusión, que la accesibilidad es un factor fundamental para ellos, que el enfoque de género de las mujeres y niñas con discapacidad es tremendamente significativo, que el aporte de todos y todas en la sociedad para estos efectos es relevante, que el sector privado también está llamado a contribuir al desarrollo sostenible, teniendo en cuenta los derechos humanos que nos marca la Convención sobre los Derechos de las Personas con Discapacidad. Creo que estamos en un momento único, un momento muy especial, porque aún con los diagnósticos de que accesibilidad aún no ha sido plenamente cumplido en los 182 estados partes ratificantes de la Convención sobre los Derechos de las Personas con Discapacidad, a pesar de que sabemos que en el 2020 más del 50% de la población vivirá en espacios urbanos, aun cuando falta más del 60% por construir. Pero yo estoy cierta, estoy segura, estoy convencida que el trabajo que hacemos desde el Pacto Global Cities for All, desde las campañas de accesibilidad, de inclusión, mancomunado con la Unión Internacional de Gobiernos Locales y Ciudades, más todos los otros partenariados que hay en esta campaña, nos darán sin duda en que hoy día la inclusión y la accesibilidad no tendrán lugar a duda. No habrá lugar a duda para la construcción que se efectuará de aquí a los 10 años siguientes. Víctor y los demás miembros de este pacto y de esta alianza, sigamos unidos en esta tarea y estoy segura que en el 2030 vamos todos juntos a celebrar con mucha alegría este desarrollo sostenible para y con las personas con discapacidad. Gracias por eso, y ahora presento a la señora Ángela Guay, que leerá el informe, el mensaje que nos ha enviado la directora ejecutiva de ONU Habitat, señora Mahmouna Mu. Gracias.
Thank you very much. I'm speaking on behalf of the Executive Director of UN Habitat. My name is Angela Mwai, and I lead the Human Rights and Social Inclusion Unit. Excellencies, city leaders, ladies and gentlemen, greetings. I am pleased to join the cities at the forefront of access and inclusion virtual event today. People with disabilities are disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and around 15% of the global population comprise persons with disability. Urban environments have served as barriers or exacerbated the barriers to the inclusion and participation of persons with disability in urbanization. As we celebrate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities today, December 3rd, and against the backdrop of the ongoing COVID-19 global pandemic, let us collectively work towards ensuring that we leave no one and no place behind, and more so for persons with disabilities and those previously or historically marginalized. UN Habitat prioritizes integrating inclusivity and human rights of persons with disability into all urban spheres of development. We believe in the effective implementation of the New Urban Agenda and see this as a driver towards full implementation of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, again, as we seek to leave no one and no place behind. We are looking forward to the sessions today as we discuss and learn from each other how to implement the Agenda 2030 and how to localize the Convention of Persons with Disability. Through the Cities for All Global Compact on Inclusive and Accessible Cities, of which we as a member, we have subscribed to it, and in partnership with World Enabled, we will work together on the launch and the Knowledge Hub and learning modules of the Building Cities for All. This program will aim to sensitize society and other relevant stakeholders about disability justice and strengthen the capacity for local governments to design inclusive and accessible urban environments. In an effort to build back better towards a disability inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post-COVID world, we need to see cities as key drivers towards the inclusive implementation of the Convention of Persons with Disabilities. And we believe that more investment is needed in cities and in urban settlements to ensure this. By jointly addressing the diverse challenges of local and regional governments, we can uphold the 2030 Agenda's promise of leaving no one behind and collaborate towards the full implementation of the UN Convention of the Rights of People with Disabilities. And finally, special thanks to our partnership. Our previous speaker spoke about the importance of partnership with World Enable, UCLG, and World Blind Union, and to the potential partners who are involved to ensure that the rigorous cross-cultural approach to equity and justice will have significant impact on the lives and the visibility for everybody. Thank you, and I speak on behalf of Executive Director Maimouna Mocharif. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much, Enviada Especial, the UN Secretary General Special Envoy for Disability and Accessibility, Maria Soledad Cisternas, and thank you so much, Angela Mwai, for reading the message from Maimouna Mocharif, a close collaborator of the Global Compact. And now we are moving into our next panel, and this would be led by UCLG and our great dear friend Emilia Saiz, Secretary General of UCLG. And how are you, Emilia?
Doing very well. How about you? It's good to see you and good to be here. I am delighted to be here celebrating this anniversary of this very important endeavor. I also feel like Maria Soledad that we are making a difference with this work, that we will change lives. But most importantly, I think we will change mentalities. We will change the perception of our world. And I think that is what we really need. I mean, each of us can only touch upon a few lives. But if we change mentalities, then we will trigger true transformation. So I am very excited to share with you some of the visionary work that cities around the world are already doing. I have to confess that from my experience, cities are very well aware that they are not doing well. They are well aware that they are built on inequality, that the infrastructures that we have are not thought for everyone, but we are trying to do better. Sometimes, however, we also realize we don't really know how to do better. And in order to actually learn to do things well, we need to involve those that are affected by the decisions that we undertake. That's what we call the principle of subsidiarity. And I think that should lead every single thing we do for the Cities for All initiative and for accessibility in general. I truly believe accessibility is going to be one of the key issues for the agenda, for the international agenda next year. And I am very happy that we are kicking off that 2021 and closing 2020 with this important topic. So let us go to those exciting examples and experiences, the visions of some of the leaders that are actually doing the job at the city level. And allow me to introduce Rachel Arfa, Commissioner of the Mayor's Office on People with Disabilities of the City of Chicago. The floor is yours to share your experience, Rachel.
Hi everyone. First, thank you for the gracious welcome here. I'm so honored to be here. So my name is Rachel Arfa, and I'm Commissioner of the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities in Chicago. I was nominated to this role in July by Mayor Roy Lightfoot. And I am the attorney previous to this role. I was a disability and civil rights attorney where I litigated cases on behalf of people with disabilities who experience discrimination at their job, and also litigated civil rights violations to help influence the Americans with Disabilities Act and other civil rights protections that we have here in the United States. I'm also proudly deaf. I was born deaf, and my hearing loss was diagnosed at 18 months old. And I got through 18 years of speech therapy to learn how to speak, to use hearing aids and cochlear implants. And I also went through to American Sign Language. So I really also want to give a shout out to the accessibility here today, including the two sign language interpreters and the captioning, because of the accessibility that we provide helps to create even more opportunities for people to participate. So as a deaf person coming to this role, I am a member of the mayor's cabinet. So I sit on her cabinet, I go to meetings with all the other cabinet members, but my participation looks a little bit different because I use sign language interpreters to participate, to access information. So I am the highest rated deaf person to serve in city government nationwide in the United States. I see this as a responsibility and a role that I take seriously, not only to represent our people with disabilities, but to help fight for more people with disabilities to be able to serve in government in leadership roles and help with making important policy and agenda decisions. So I would acknowledge that today's International International Disabled Day around the world, and in particular on how it should not matter what country you're born or where you live, every person with a disability should have the same equal access rights. And I know that's a shared goal that we all have, to try to make sure that we all have equal opportunities to go to school, to work, to enjoy recreational events, and to be a part of our communities, to be a part of our cities, and to be a part of our nation. And I know that we're all working together across the world towards this goal. I also want to talk about the pandemic. So thanks to COVID-19, our world has flipped upside down. This program is aligned instead of all meeting together somewhere in one of our countries. It is exposed where the barriers to access, but it is also a moment of opportunity. This is a moment of opportunity to think about what's working and to brainstorm on solutions that can help make our world more accessible. There are many things about virtual platforms that create more access, it remove barriers to transportation, it even could remove barriers to communication access. As doctors, we also work to address the digital divide out there and make sure that everyone has access to a computer, to high-speed internet, to be able to connect like this around the world. So here in the US, we the hot topic this week was the availability of the vaccine that is coming out. And that's brought new enthusiasm about returning to a in-person world. But I hope that as we plan for that we take the lessons that we've learned from this time and apply them correctly forward. For example, that maybe we don't need to all be in person together. That maybe we could provide more services virtually, which can help create more access for people with disabilities, even to connect with one another, just like at this room. So those are just some thoughts about how we can continue to make out of our cities accessible as we move into the year 2021. So I want to thank you for having me here today and recognize International Disabled Day, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for highlighting the importance of digital access, and I think this pandemic has also made it very obvious that this is extremely important. The importance of language and interpretation. We are making a special effort for this event today, but we all realize that in all of our organizations, we need to try and make that effort throughout, right? Because people with disabilities do not only want to hear about this topic in accessible formats, they want to hear about everything and have access to everything. So I think that's a very important commitment to make. Thank you very much for your inputs. It is important, and the UN Secretary General was saying today, it is very important to realize how differently people with disabilities are experiencing the special context that we're going through. And that is true for many different groups. And it will be part, I think, the acknowledgement of that differentiated experience of our realities will need to be part and parcel of a different type of policy making at local level. Is what we call a different way of doing politics at municipal level, the level closest to the people. So I am very proud to have leaders such as you, Rachel, with us, breaking these glass walls that we have and breaking barriers. Allow me now to go to another experience. We're remaining in the Americas, going to Patricia Morla, Councilor of the City of Villa Carlos Paz, and leading the group on disability of a very important partner for you, CLG Mercociudades. Patricia, bienvenida. A ti la palabra.
Bueno, buenos días, buenas tardes. No sé si me escuchan bien.
Perfecto, te escuchamos. Adelante.
Gracias, Emilia. Primero que nada, agradecer este lugar que se nos da, porque nosotros pertenecemos a un grupo que es joven en el trabajo de la defensa de los derechos de las personas con discapacidad. Es un grupo que apenas tiene 9 años y que fue liderado en su momento, su organización, con Federico Lezama, que después le voy a pasar la palabra a él. Para nosotros, la defensa de los derechos de las personas con discapacidad se basa totalmente en la Convención Internacional y en la lucha de los distintos colectivos. Hoy por hoy somos ciudades que estamos representadas por distintos funcionarios y hay personas de Chile, de Brasil, de Uruguay, de Argentina, y todos tenemos el mismo objetivo, que es la inclusión definitiva de las personas con discapacidad sin ningún tipo de barrera. Este año para nosotros fue un año difícil, como lo fue para todo el mundo, y tuvimos que empezar a ver cuáles eran el déficit que teníamos para que las personas con discapacidad tuvieran el acceso a todos sus derechos. En ese marco, uno de los temas más importantes que vimos fue cómo se los dejaba de lado con respecto al tema de salud, cuando se necesitaba un respirador o una cama en una unidad de terapia intensiva. Entonces, trabajamos fuertemente con esto, enviando un mensaje a toda la red de Mercociudades, que son 369 ciudades de todo el Mercosur, donde les pedimos a los gobiernos locales que por favor consideraran que las personas con discapacidad tenían los mismos derechos que cualquier persona al momento de recibir una atención médica. Y el otro problema que encontramos fue la falta de accesibilidad a la información, porque en esta vorágine que se inició con los datos que se daban para evitar el contagio, veíamos que estaban en formatos que no eran accesibles para nada y que la gente no tenía el mismo acceso a la información que cualquier otra persona. Nuestro grupo está conformado por personas con discapacidad y sin discapacidad, y distintas discapacidades, desde ceguera hasta alguna discapacidad invisible. Entonces todos coincidíamos en esto, que la información no estaba llegando a todos por igual. Así que en ese marco presentamos un proyecto con la ciudad de Montevideo, que en ese momento estaba liderada por Federico Lezama, la ciudad de La Paz, Bolivia, y la ciudad de Santa Fe, también de Argentina, donde por suerte hemos tenido el gran honor de haber sido elegidos para el año que viene trabajar en la deconstrucción de barreras, no solo de barreras comunicacionales, sino las actitudinales. El poder dar a la información a todos los ciudadanos y a los gobiernos locales, que son a quienes nosotros representamos, para que tengan las herramientas para poder tratar a una persona de la misma manera, tenga o no tenga una discapacidad, la edad que sea o la diversidad que sea. Así que en eso estamos enfocados en el trabajo para el año que viene. Es un desafío muy grande porque también queremos llegar a los medios de comunicación que tantas veces discriminan, no solo en la forma de comunicar, sino en las palabras utilizadas. Así que, bueno, tenemos un buen trabajo para el año que viene, pero siempre orgullosos, y bueno, ahora que hemos sumado este contacto tan fuerte con CGLU, sabemos que vamos a poder desarrollarlo apoyados por esta red, que para nosotros es un orgullo y un honor, porque somos ya desde hace tiempo hermanos en el trabajo con Mercociudades. Así que bueno, agradeciendo esto, le voy a dar la palabra a Federico, si me permiten, para que él pueda contar un poquito más.
Bueno, Federico estaba en el programa, Patricia. O sea,
bueno,
que yo le iba a dar la palabra con todo gusto, como a todos los demás. Y quiero sobre todo realmente felicitaros mucho porque es cierto que de construir barreras es un trabajo a veces muy complicado, sobre todo cuando no hay tanta conciencia en los proveedores de servicios públicos, ¿no?, sobre cuáles son las barreras en realidad. Y ahí hay un trabajo de mapeo, de reconocimiento, de cambio de mentalidades, como yo decía antes, que son muy importantes, pero también desagregar datos e interpretarlos de manera diferente, desarrollar indicadores diferentes. Me imagino que el espacio público es muy, muy importante, pero ahora también hay un espacio público virtual al que nos vamos a tener que enfrentar. O sea que, Patricia, realmente felicidades, muchísimas gracias. Cuenta con nosotros para ese reto del año que viene. Y ahora sí, Federico, con todos los honores, como un panelista adicional y compañero de Patricia, como director de Disability of the City of Canelones, de la ciudad de Canelones, y también como miembro del grupo de Mercociudades Adelante. Un gusto tenerte con nosotros.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Emilia, por tu presentación, para todos los participantes. Quiero saludar también especialmente a María Soledad Cisterna, que hace varios años nos conocimos de Montevideo, también compartimos en Ginebra cuando presentamos el informe país por primera vez en Uruguay, y siempre fue muy cálida y nos ayudó mucho, entre otras cosas, a la constitución y a tejer esta red que reúne a las principales ciudades de Latinoamérica, por lo menos de la región que engloba el Mercosur, y que estamos por llegar pronto a los 10 años de trabajo. Entonces es un órgano que se ha podido consolidar y que aspiramos también en esta instancia, en este intercambio, a poder generar un vínculo mucho más estrecho para los próximos años, sobre todo con el proyecto Cities for All. Nuestras ciudades están en una etapa de cambios importantes. Los últimos 10 años, quizás desde el impulso de la convención en los países latinoamericanos, que fueron quizás los primeros que tomaron con determinación la aprobación de las convenciones y de los protocolos. Cuando vemos el mapa, cómo se fue pintando poco a poco en la aprobación de estos instrumentos internacionales, Latinoamérica fue de las regiones que rápidamente lo tomó, y luego eso empezó a generar espacios de transformación, obviamente con desigualdad muchas veces entre los países y a la interna de los países, entre las regiones, pero estamos en un contexto favorable y necesitamos de estas redes, de estos vínculos, necesitamos de las experiencias del aprendizaje y de los liderazgos que se han venido consolidando en los últimos 20 años a nivel internacional, y para que podamos tener los impulsos que nos permitan superar aquella perspectiva de que los gobiernos hagan lo posible a pasar a hacer lo necesario. Son dos niveles distintos. Hasta ahora la discapacidad y las ciudades a veces logran contemplar y contentarse con las buenas acciones, pero no implica que se acumule en un proceso de transformación. Y nosotros estamos trabajando a través de la red de Mercociudades y en particular en las experiencias de las ciudades del Uruguay, en un pasaje que sea superador a esta situación, y queremos que en los próximos 10 años se instrumenten los planes de hacer posible lo que es necesario para garantizar los derechos, y no admitir más, de alguna manera, esas pequeñas acciones con buenas intenciones, pero que siguen en el paradigma del caritativo de la discapacidad. Y bueno, estamos en ese momento. Creemos que no es una realidad exclusiva del Uruguay, de la Argentina, de Latinoamérica. Creo que hay un contexto internacional favorable, y bueno, quedar a disposición el intercambio, agradecerles realmente nuevamente esta oportunidad para poder seguir trabajando, y los estaremos comunicando nuestros avances y también nuestras dificultades para que podamos trabajar en conjunto. Muchísimas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Federico. Yo creo, a mí me encanta esto que dices, nada de hacer lo posible, sino lo necesario. Es que ya hoy en día lo de la desigualdad no es aceptable. Yo creo que lo que ha marcado este contexto tan especial de este año es que todos estábamos diciendo que teníamos que luchar por la igualdad, pero aceptábamos una cierta noción de desigualdad. Y yo creo que ahora nos hemos dado cuenta de que esa desigualdad crea mucha inseguridad, que el más débil de entre nosotros es el reflejo de la fuerza de la sociedad en su totalidad. Y entonces, de verdad, creo que ese moto que te vamos a robar ya lo vamos a tener ahí en el mundo mundial, vamos a usar eso, nada de hacer lo posible, sino hacer lo necesario. Creo que tengas razón, Federico, y que sea el ambiente tan favorable como dices. Allow me to go to a different part of the world now, to the city of Mersin. And we have with us the advisor to the mayor, Ibrahim Ebrim. And we also have a message from the mayor that we're going to play later on. Ibrahim, how are you experiencing this partnership, and what does it mean to you to give a greater impulse to this agenda in your city? How is the mayor looking at this?
First of all, hello, Ms. Saiz, Honorable General Secretary of UCLG. As you know, Mersin is already playing the presidency of UCLG MEVA Inclusive Cities. So we are trying to do our best in physical and now digital matters to make our city inclusive and accessible for everybody. Mersin is also suffering the burden of approximately 400,000 immigrants, guests from Syria. And this is creating a big task on us, because most of this population of migrants are ladies without husbands, many children with trauma problems, language problems, etc. But you said something very interesting to us. We have to change the mentalities, first of all, beginning from the public spaces and public administration. This is why we are trying to establish an organization to deal with these issues, social issues, inclusiveness, accessibility, and sustainability affairs. Let me finish with the cordial regards of our mayor, Honorable Mayor, Mr. Wahab Secher, that you will watch his short video now. We are extremely happy of joining this network. We are already under the umbrella of UCLG, but this is another privilege now. Thank you, Emilia.
Thank you very much. You know, the layers of friendship are very important. Friendship is built with layers, and the more you have, the warmer you feel. And the idea with United Cities and local governments is that we make sure that everybody belongs, that we inspire the champions to go further than the rest of us, but also that we make sure that we leave no one behind. So even when you are not ready to go the furthest, you can still join the movement. Let us watch the video from the Mayor of Mersin.
Saygıdeğer Birleşmiş Milletler Engelli Kişilerin Hakları Sözleşmesi'ne taraf Devletler Konferansı Bürosu. Kapsayıcı ve erişebilir şehirler küresel ilkeler sözleşmesi ortakları. Çok değerli katılımcılar ve izleyiciler. Mersin Büyükşehir Belediyesi ve UCLG MEVA Sosyal İçerme Komitesi Başkanı olarak Engelliler Günü'nü kutluyor, erişebilir kentler için çalışma kararlılığımızı vurguluyor. Kapsayıcı ve erişebilir şehirler sözleşmesini imzalamaktan duyduğum memnuniyet ile Mersin'den herkese en içten sevgilerimi iletiyorum.
Well, we are all very, very jealous of that very beautiful city, but also incredibly inspired. And I am sure that Victor and Maria Soledad are very happy with that signing, because that's what we want everybody to do, every single city in the world. We want all of you to sign up to these cities for all. And I wouldn't be doing my task well, and my team would remind me, if I don't encourage you to look at our policy papers on accessibility, which we produce together with World Enable and other partners as part of our town hall process, going towards our Congress last year, and they are our blueprint to work on this very important topic. And we have made them now available in easy read and audio versions. Please do have a look at them. They are only the first building block towards something which is very important, which is ensuring that we show the best face of humanity and the most fairness. It's about fairness, it's about solidarity, but also about creativity and being inspired by the talents of all. So Victor, I hope that you're happy with that signature, and that we get many, many more.
Thank you so much. I am delighted that so many cities and leaders, that especially here, that Turkey has created such an open engagement. This conversation, Amelia, when you and I started talking about this, we knew that there was a big demand for tools and for community, and mostly for relationships. As an urban planner, I've noticed that cities want to do more, that want to be together. That's why at this portion of our event, I'm really proud to share this next phase, where we will look at the tools and some of the innovation and some of the ways that we can make progress together. I want to thank you, Maria Soledad, and you, Amelia, for being such a strong partner for this campaign and developing these tools. The tools really want to feature, what has been done. What do we know that's out there, and what do we know, what we still need to work on? We also want to make sure that the tools help us understand what action we need to take to strengthen this multi-stakeholder platform that with UCLG develop this community of practice. My goal is today very simple, to just introduce how we've done over the last 2 years to make these 6 principles of the Global Compact into concrete set of guidance and learnings. Cities that have signed the Global Compact, now coming close to 30, all have a different level of progress on these various dimensions of the compact. But we're now launching with you, Amelia. Thanks for your support, for the work with all of these other partners, a set of learning modules. Those really are the next step from this day, which happened exactly 2 years ago in Berlin, where we had representatives from nearly half a dozen different cities commit to engaging on this journey. Karen Tamley, the commissioner from Chicago, the commissioner from New York, we had Rio de Sao Paulo, Leyoud in Morocco, and others all joined, but they all said we want to continue to learn together. So we continue to shape that learning with you and UCLG and the special envoy in Durban, South Africa. And we were able to move forward on this process of developing a policy guidelines on inclusive and accessible cities. That's another artifact, another element of that learning journey. as well as all the content that we started to develop during COVID. When COVID hit, we were just leading the World Urban Forum, where we had additional signatories. We had Barcelona, Helsinki, Abu Dhabi, and other cities and organizations come together to sign the Global Compact. But as soon as we all got home, we realized that there was a massive response that was needed to fill two big gaps. What's happening? How are people with disabilities being put in greater risk during this COVID? And how can we take action to understand the best ways forward? So we'll mobilize 2,000 people, obviously with all of the partners together in WhatsApp groups, and in a 9-week webinar series with which we co-hosted with UCLG, UN Habitat, the Special Envoy, and others. And immediately their policies started to change. Everybody was sharing experiences that was supporting and elevating each other. Next slide. But we realized that there was still learning that needed to happen. Not only do we need recommendations to kind of have a better inclusive pandemic response, which we published as well in July, but we wanted to have short lessons on each of the principles of the Global Compact. And with our new media partner, Doha Debates, we were able to collaborate on scripting out a set of simple lessons, kind of like a LinkedIn Learning, where you could take a short 6 to 10 minute video module, and then read additional content in a downloadable guide. This is all going to be part of our learning modules that we want to continue to develop with all of you over the next year. But today, we're very proud to launch the first set of modules on the Cities for All website on the homepage. And I encourage you to stay engaged for the next few days as the content gets new PowerPoints and new resources. But the first 10 lessons, introduction lesson and additional 9 lessons, video lessons with sign language interpretation and captioning are online. And we're working with YouTube to explore audio description launch in the early part of the next year. So I think there's a lot that cities can immediately take advantage of to strengthen our joint efforts on the campaign, Emilia and Maria Soledad, as we move forward. Let me take a moment now and recognize the fact that all of the other partners from around the world have been part of this learning process and have been developing their own tools. Here's a very short 2-minute video on how the video modules can help cities and city employees learn a very basic introduction to this topic. Let's see if this loads. How can we use good design to improve the lives of 1 billion people? And how can we build entire cities that are more accessible, inclusive, and resilient? And how can we ensure that the future is accessible to everyone? I'm Victor Pineda, and I'm passionate about the future of cities.
There are people like me in every city around the world. And the issue is whether or not government and the private sector want to engage with people like Victor and myself.
Now I can see a very positive change in the lives of people with disability when they realized and accepted their disability. They got trainings on gender, on disability, on leadership.
making sure that disability issues are part of our everyday conversations and decision-making is critical.
Together, we're going to get a greater appreciation of the range of talents, preferences, and experiences of people with disabilities, who may happen to be your neighbors, your friends, your family members, and who may have a lot more to share if only we eliminate the barriers. So that's those modules are available to learn immediately, and they'll be supplemented with the contents, resources from all of our other partners as well next year as we build out a knowledge hub on this topic with all of you. Let me hand over the floor to a good friend, Hannes from the World Blind Union, who's developed a fantastic tool that you can start using right away.
Thank you so much, Victor. First, I'd just like to thank you and the co-organizers of this event. And the World Blind Union is very happy to celebrate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities with you today, as well as the 2-year anniversary of the Global Compact, to which actually the World Blind Union was the first global organization of persons with disabilities to enter. By joining efforts around the Global Compact within the Disability Inclusive and Accessible Urban Development Network, this has really unlocked the potential to revitalize the role of organizational persons with disabilities to be natural stakeholders in the sphere of urban development and in shaping the cities of tomorrow. And for the WBU, that has resulted in new milestone partnerships, for instance, with UN Habitat and with the Global Initiative for Inclusive and Accessible ICT. And we also hope and encourage other organizations of persons with disabilities to join us in the global network to shape the cities. Before introducing the tool, as been requested, I first just like to acknowledge that accessibility is a precondition and for inclusion and a basic human right enshrined in the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The pandemic and the varying responses to it at all levels has shown that we have not done enough to address the persistent physical, digital, and social accessibility barriers which exist, which has even led to that some have been reinforced. And this is, of course, exacerbating some of the challenges many persons with disabilities face and older persons globally to enjoy equal rights and opportunities. As we now enter the decade of action, we have to learn from the past and the present and take action to ensure that we are doing the things right in building back better towards a more inclusive future, where everyone, regardless of their identity characteristic, have greater opportunities to lead independently the lives they choose. When we know that global change really requires local action, and that local and regional governments are not only at the forefront of realizing the commitments and visions of the new urban agenda, but also you have the power to be locomotives for the implementation of the Convention of Rights of Persons with Disabilities at the community level where people actually live. We all have a role to play as local government authorities and cities, as organizations of persons with disabilities, as federations, multilateral entities, academia, corporate sector, and civil society, to be part of the change we want to see, where we break accessibility barriers and foster true inclusion. We must all ensure that accessibility is not an afterthought, but a central driver to promote equality for all and embed accessibility across systems, strategies, and practices in our various types of work. Because the degree to which we succeed in integrating accessibility within our organizational structures will be the true determinant if we can truly deliver programs, services, and spaces which meets the requirements and desires of the increasingly diverse urban population, and to uphold the promise of leaving no one behind in progress in human development. Because the time is to now, the time really is to act now, to build back better and shape a more inclusive future. and also learn from the past to avoid mistakes to be repeated. And actually, one question is, how can we talk about deliver accessibility if we do not really practice accessibility within our own organizations, with our own staff, with our own partners, in our own programs? And I believe some of the previous speakers highlighted that as well. How do we lead by example? Therefore, to be part of the change we want to see, the World Blind Union, together with CBM Global Disability Inclusion, recently launched the first of its kind guide, Accessibility Go, a guide to action. And this unique guide, which is already available on our website, is unique, and it provides, as it aims to provide support to any type of organizations, including cities and local government authorities, to really take a whole of organization approach to accessibility and practice it holistically. Because the direction organization at any level takes will be determinant if we can create accessible environments for and with all persons with disabilities. And the WBU, we recognize that good accessibility requires both long-term planning and investment toward universal design, as well as adopting immediate measures to ensure equality and non-discrimination. The Accessibility Go, a guide to action, is a practical resource to underpin these immediate and long-term actions. It centers around 7 accessibility commitments and a very simple 3-step process framework. The commitment areas include accessibility, for example, in offices and premises, how we work on ICT and communication systems within procurement, capacity development, the trainings and learning management, meetings and events, and how we work on human resource management. All of the 7 accessibility commitments comes with self-assessment templates. By initiating processes, use these assessment templates within your organization. It allows you to take stock of where you are in terms of accessibility and in your context, specific to your context, and give guides you and provides you the way to plan and take action towards realizing your commitments towards more inclusive and accessible organizations, and in this case also cities for all. The Accessibility Go promotes the equality for all persons with disabilities, and it will be available in multiple languages and formats during the quarter to come. The World Blind Union firmly believes that the Accessibility Go, a guide to action, can support meaningful partnerships between organizations of persons with disabilities and our mainstream partners at all levels and in all sectors. And with the Accessibility Go, we want organizations in the world, across the world to practice and model the highest level of accountability to persons with disabilities and ensure that accessibility standards set by the CRPD Convention are met. And by making use of this guide, you will gain the know-how on how to accelerate actions towards a world which celebrates diversity and in which everyone is counted as equals in all spheres of life. So as mentioned, the guide in accessible PDF in English is readily available at the World Blind Union website, worldblindunion.org. And in the months to come, it will also be made available in French, Spanish, Chinese, Arabic, easy read, and in audio formats. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannes. I'll let Luis introduce the next speaker, Ian McKinnon.
Searching.
Yes, the next speaker is Ian McKinnon, co-founder and director of operations of Inclusive Design for Global Disability Innovation Hub. Hello, Ian. How are you?
Hi, Luis. Yeah, good. Thank you. I'm very well. And I'd just like to echo the sentiments of everyone to say thank you so much for having us along and very much looking forward to sharing some of our work with you just now. So what I'll do is I'm going to take you through a short example over the next 5 minutes, just to highlight some of the work that we're doing at the Global Disability Innovation Hub. So we are currently working on a research program, which is UK aid funded, called AT 2030. And in particular, I'm going to talk to you about a sub-program under that 80-20-30 called inclusive infrastructure, where we are currently looking at evidence and actions for a more inclusive built environment. Next slide, please. We are part of the team that delivered the inclusive design of the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park in East London that hosted the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2012. And we are now harnessing that experience and knowledge into this new research project under 80-20-30, which I'll explain in a second. I also really always like to begin with our definition of inclusive design, because I think it's quite important to set your stall out initially. So for us at GDI Hub, we believe that inclusive design can help all human beings experience the world around them in a fair and equal way, creating safe and accessible environments for all members of the community. For me, as a designer, inclusive design is a mindset, it's an approach, it's a way of working, like a methodology that embraces diversity and can help create worlds that are more intuitive, that can be more elegant, and are certainly more usable for everyone, including disabled people. Next slide, please. So this research project that we're currently working on with UK aid funding is doing research looking at case studies on inclusive design and accessibility in 6 cities around the world over the next 3 years, with a focus on cities in lower and middle income countries. And we are looking at generating really tangible evidence from those 6 global case studies on what are the real barriers on the ground to accessibility, but also where are the opportunities for inclusion and equity in the built environment and beyond, and also to really get a true sense of what does an inclusive environment look like in that context, in that city. Next slide, please. So we are, as you would imagine, working very closely with a network of partners and stakeholders, obviously local partners, including disabled persons organisations and NGOs. Especially with COVID-19, we are operating remotely, and so we are arguably working even closer and have even stronger relationships now with those local partners as a result. We're using very creative and participatory research methods and techniques with a solutions-focused approach to the work that we do. We are using inclusive design as a tool and to look at how it can create a fairer and more equal society, and of course linking the role of inclusive design in urban development and how that can achieve the 2030 agenda that we're all so familiar with. Next slide, please. So just to give you a flavour of the research work, as I say, we started at the beginning of this year. It's a 3-year programme. We're doing 6 case studies. The first case study is now complete and the report is published online. It's on our website. And that was on Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. We are currently in the middle of our second case study, which is the city of Varanasi in India, where we're working with the National Institute of Urban Affairs and their BASIC programme, and also the Kiran Society in India. I should also say our partners in Mongolia, where Tesh Nagem, also we have connections with the Asian Development Bank in that work, and AIFO, an Italian NGO. After India, we're going to do a case study in Indonesia. We'll do a case study in Sierra Leone, in Kenya, and then we have one final city which we haven't decided on yet. So yeah, answers on a postcard, but we've kept that spot open deliberately. Next slide, please. So just to give you some of our initial findings from our first case study report from Ulaanbaatar, which we will discover over the next 5 case studies whether there's consistencies here or whether this is unique. But we found that there is an awareness and an understanding of inclusion and inclusive design, but it could definitely be improved upon. In particular, the consistency of understanding across different stakeholders could be improved. We found that accessibility standards and laws on rights do exist, but it's the implementation that's the issue. Many people don't even know that they exist, and certainly those frameworks to allow implementation are not functioning as well as they should, or as effective as they should be. We discovered climate as a huge factor, as you would imagine, particularly Ulaanbaatar being our first case study, has huge variances in climate, and the winter months can be particularly challenging for everyone in the city, but especially disabled people. So that was a really interesting factor that we had to bring into the research. And we recognise that huge amounts of infrastructure investment is needed in cities, and particularly the huge amount of development that's in the pipeline across lower and middle income countries across Asia and Africa. Our aim is to ensure that through this research and through the influence that we hope we can garner, and through our relationships with World Enabled and other partners here, that we can ensure that those developments build in inclusion and inclusive design from the outset, which is the key, really. Next slide, please. So that's a very quick 5-minute overview of our current research work. The GDI Hub does other projects and consultancy work, and if you want to get in touch with us to find out more, get in touch. The report can be downloaded from our website, and we'll keep you posted on the following 5 case studies as we go, and as we work together on the compact progress with World Enabled and the other partners involved today. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ian. Great to have partners like you, and I'm really excited and happy for the future of the community and the great work that our partners are doing. Moving on with the next speaker, we have Yuval Wagner from Access Israel. He's the founder and president of Access Israel. Yuval, how are you? The word is yours.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with all of you. You're doing some great work, Cities for All and all the partners. And it's a pleasure and honor to share with you what we do here in Israel. Access Israel is a nonprofit organization that promotes accessibility and inclusion to all disabilities and in all spheres of life. And in order to do that, we do three things. We do awareness, we do legislation, and we do projects that are implementation of accessibility in an impact way. And so in Israel, we have a very progressed accessibility laws, regulation, and standards, which actually aiming for all sectors, the government, the municipalities, and companies, private companies. And the legislation is very interesting, and I'm going to focus now, of course, on smart cities, is that the legislation is all about every various aspects of accessibility and inclusion, which means the built environment which means the services by the municipalities, which mean the technologies, and which mean the inclusion of people employed with disabilities. The accessibility laws in Israel are aiming that everything would be accessible. And also, we have what we call the stick. So if a municipality doesn't comply with the law and the timeline that is expected to be made, then in the Equal Rights Commissioner can actually do a formal act and make the city implement even if they don't want to. And also we have civilian laws that can enable every civilian to pursue the municipality if they don't comply with the accessibility laws. So this actually makes us progress even further forward. But in order to take this very complicated task of implementation of accessibility, and we want the implementation to be in the DNA level of the municipalities, we have made a special model of consultants that is very simple, and very cost effectively, and makes it enabling doing it easier in municipalities. So this is the target of having municipalities employing this special model. And what we think is the biggest mission or the biggest barrier is that you can implement accessibility in two levels. One is do what they say in the regulations and standards. But as you know, all of you, that you can go even further. You can do always better. You can always see what is special, what is new, what you can do more. And in order to do that, you have to make sure that the management, the mayor and his management really understand and really believe that it's the right thing to do. So we have a lot of programs of awareness, experiential awareness, because we believe that only when they feel themselves what it means to be with disability, they can go to the next stage and understand the reality, the realistic, what they are gaining for making their municipality accessible. And after they are convinced and believing in that, then everything then can go much smoother and much better in the goal of making municipalities accessible. And lastly, we are now in the future and looking even more to the future. We understand that everything will be technology and services based on technologies. And what we're doing in Israel now is we're trying to legislate a new law that will make sure that every new technology, every new service based on technology that is between organizations, municipalities, and their clients must be accessible in advance. And we're doing also an ecosystem that will manage that will lead that with all partners in Israel and friends from abroad. So thank you very much. And remember, legislation is great. It helps a lot. But the basic and the most important from our view is awareness. Thank you very much.
Yuval, you said it right. There's always a complex set of areas that cities have to attack. That the laws is just one dimension. But if people aren't aware and understand, and even transform their own culture, then you don't have that full transformation, because people need to put this into the way that they do business. But this is a transformation that my dear friend Emilia has taken on, that we're so proud to be supporting her in this process. Emilia, you are one of our most important partners in this campaign. You coming to the UN Conference of States Parties is something that we had envisioned for a while. So I want to thank you and leave you with the last words on how we can help listen to cities, how we can help work with our cities, how we can help us and network, amplify this work in the cities that we live in.
Thank you very much, Victor, dear friend. I was hearing the outcomes of this case in Ulaanbaatar, and I was thinking, well, most of these outcomes could be applicable almost anywhere, even in the city that I live in, which is one of the champions and trying to do a very big job in accessibility, like Barcelona. I think everywhere you have a notion and there is a kind of understanding, as our colleagues in Latin America were saying, there is a good environment now. People are talking about this. It is in the work programs. So there is a general sense of understanding, but I still feel that we need to really grasp what it means. And there is a part of that true understanding and deep understanding that is also up to the people. to the families, to the people with disability themselves, to the people that are around the people with disabilities, is much bigger than government, like you were saying. And that's why it's much bigger than law. Law is slow. One of the first things you learn when you go to law school is that law is slower than society, by definition, all right? It only tries to reflect a little bit on society, but it's slow things. And so is government a little bit. What we are trying to do at municipal level, at the level closest to the people, is to change that trend and to create a space where we go beyond legislation, where we go beyond competencies, right? And we try to do what we need to do, even if we don't have to do it by law, and even if we don't really have the means yet to do it. It needs to be a process of co-creation. And I think if this is important for every single file that we deal with, for the ecological transformation, for rethinking democracy, for reaching, for overcoming gender inequalities and discrimination, it is of critical importance for accessibility. So I also think that this work that we are doing beyond the learning that we are promoting, and I meant what I said about the different speeds. I think, you know, in the broad membership of our world organization with very different realities around the world, you will have some that will embrace this topic with very little resources and very little capacity, and sometimes little understanding. You will have others that are very, very further than we are as organizations, and they will try to bring us with them. We need to serve them all. We need to keep them all on board. On the other hand, I also feel that we need to trigger a different type of conversation between local governments and national governments. National governments are also not doing enough to support local governments in the type of investment they will need to make to transform the infrastructure of the cities, which, as I said before, is basically built on inequality. Almost all of our mobility systems are based on inequality. We are rethinking them, but we are rethinking them without enough means. I'm being provocative here, but I do think we need to we need to put it like this also in the dialogue with national governments. So the work that we are doing here has a part of learning, a part of inspiration, and triggering change, but also a part of advocacy. And that's why we are so pleased to be here in the context of the United Nations, why we were so delighted to support the campaign of Maria Soledad. I think there is a before and an after that campaign, and we will certainly promote it, pillars and accessibility as pillar and as a bridge. And for the rest, colleagues, do trust us. We are slow, local and regional governments, but we are very committed. And as Patricia and others have demonstrated, we are ready to make a change. And 2021 is just the beginning. So I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Emilia and Special Envoy on Accessibility and Disability, Maimouna Sharif. I think we have developed a historical moment where there is a before and after. This is a 10-year campaign that we will be committed to together to build out through the 2030 to empower local governments and advocate to national governments to listen to cities and listen to the local action and create the enabling environment so that we can actually create that transformation together. Well, the interpreters are logging off. We have gone over time, but we will stay for a little informal conversation a little bit more. If anybody has any questions for us, anybody has any questions for some of the folks, if you can stay. Otherwise, wanted to thank you for having this time with us and marking our path to 2021, a more accessible and inclusive cities await us to build. We will build them together. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. We'll take a little break, but we'll leave the room open for informal conversation in a few minutes. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks.